So, good evening and welcome to episode 16 of New York Football Talk, man. Like every week, I don't care if it's a round number or anything like that. Like just seeing 15, 16, hopefully 17, 18, 19 always just blows my mind. Like we're really year two of this, and we're finally reviewing week one of the PSAL season. They count now. So much to break down. To be honest with you, we have to move decently quickly
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
there
a
is
lot to talk about.
so much to talk about at all levels of the PSAL. Did not fail to provide entertainment. And of course, could not break it down alone. My guy, Jared. Ooh, Jared, just talk about the new title you have there, my boy. Talk about that new
What?
title.
I didn't even peep that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just added it. No,
Wait.
I'm
Hold on a second. Hold on a
super.
second. You get a reset. Hold on a second. Hold on a
Put my
second.
boy on
I
big
know.
Make sure
So
they see that's Big Jared.
yeah, so
Big Jared. Big news day.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, just added it. Newsday and Uzzi Sports, but yeah, just got hired recently with Newsday, and I'm super excited to announce. For those that don't know, Newsday, it's one of the biggest publications and newspapers in all of New York, and honestly, even nationally. And I just got hired by them, and I'm happy that PSAL football coverage is finally back in a major publication. It's been a long time, and I'm just excited to be a part of it. And what they're doing over there. Shout out Andre for helping me out, getting some photos for that first article, dropping a couple lists and a quick preview. But yeah, it's gonna be weekly coverage. There's gonna be one game per week for a game article. But one of the best parts of what we're doing there is and I did it for the first week already, is all divisions. It's gonna be quick write-ups of just like players' names of who did what, XYZ had a couple touchdowns and all that stuff. So it's fun. We're getting all the kids' names out there on a site and paper that's seen by a lot of people. So it's just the start, man. Thanks for that, Andre. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Everybody, give Jared some claps in the chat, please. Please give Jared some claps in
And
the chat. I'm
we're
bored,
trying,
man.
we're trying to elevate New York City ball. And I hate to make an advertisement, 25 cents for 6 months. But
Boy, we
Listen,
can't
man.
beat that. Come on
We in a
now.
different time, man. We in a different time, man. Cough up that 25 cents, man. Come on.
yeah.
That is
You know,
for the
dig into
low.
that couch, find that quarter, just like the old days.
yeah.
I don't even know if people even know. Y'all even. I know me and E did that. I don't know if Jared knows about chasing the ice cream man, looking in the couch for some
Oh, come
quarters.
on. Come on. I'm not
Get
that young.
missing.
Yeah, so yo, congrats, Jerry. I definitely want to give you your
Thanks,
flowers, man. That's
man.
such a big deal, man, for real. E, what's going on, man?
I can't complain, bro. It was an interesting first week. Like you mentioned, we got a lot to discuss. Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely a lot went down. Some things surprised me. Uh, I don't know if disappointed me is the word, but yeah, man, just definitely a lot to discuss, man.
Now, we'll break it all down. Coach Flav in the chat
So,
on the check-in. How we doing, my guy? Tristan Smith, I see you using your member emojis. Thank you
yeah,
very much. I
shout
know
out.
they don't come up properly on the platform I'm using, but I know it's coming up properly for everybody who's using the YouTube chat. So that's awesome. Representing the Vikings. We'll talk about the Vikings later on. So just to start again, as always, just a reminder, we are giving away $1,000 in the Sage Standout Student Section scholarship. Curtis Curtis went first. They had a very, very strong showing. They had a Hawaiian themed. The crowd was Hawaiian themed. It was pretty packed out. They didn't really have chants or anything like that, but they were definitely going back and forth with the cheerleaders, which I thought was awesome. And they were banging against the back of the bleachers and everything like that. So I definitely think coming out of the gates first, definitely think Curtis High School had a very, very good representation of themselves. Next up is Eagle Academy. We're going to talk about Eagle Academy later and their game of the week against Brooklyn Tech. So Eagle Academy, make sure you guys, pass this message along and get people to come out and support on Friday afternoon. And of course, just like we've been pushing quite a bit, become a YouTube member. You not only do you support me, you support Jared, you support you support all of New York City, because you know that we like to give back and make sure everyone's doing all right. So if you can, become a member. You see the perks by now. A huge thank you to everyone who signed up and watched the first member only live stream this weekend. I thought it was a huge success. The numbers were great in my opinion, especially for the first time. And this is we're going to see more of these. The games that aren't sponsored, they are going to be member only. That also does include some of the games of the week. I'll make a post about that later on in the week. But if you don't want to miss any of the action, if you want to support Sage Media, make sure you become a member. You get access to the custom emojis, like a few people were showing in the chat, and supporting the brand for real. So the first announcement is the members only game for this week. Now, there won't be member only games every single week. Like I said, I'm trying to get at least 3 to 4 a month. So, you really feel like that $7 is worth it. But we do have a members only stream this week, and I'm happy to announce it. We actually are going back to the same venue as Saturday to watch Port Richmond. The red hot, no pun intended, the red hot Port Richmond Red Raiders go up against Southshore. Now, I know you guys say we doing Southshore twice in a week. Yes, we are. It was a complete coincidence. Like when I looked at the schedule and when I was planning out the games of the week, these two games, the Southshore against Tottenville and Southshore versus Port Richmond were two games. I was like, man, I really, really want to get those games on stream. So that's why, it was really good candidates to be a member only stream. Of course, this is going to feature the reigning Staten Island Player of the Year, Kasim Cromwell, who is on a complete tear this season. But I've been talking so much, Jared. When you see this matchup, what do you think?
Yeah, he wild.
It's honestly, I'm so excited for it. It's
Oh, you're a fool.
Oh, I thought he was talking.
My fault.
No worries. But yeah, man, this is gonna be a big one, and honestly, it's one of the most important games of the season, just in the sense of for Southshore, getting back on track, right? If you win this game, in my opinion, you got a lot of momentum back. Your schedule becomes a little bit easier at least. But for Port Richmond wins. Now all of a sudden, you have 3 huge wins on your resume already. 2 straight league wins. Kasim Cromwell is playing he's playing like he's one of the best players in the state, and it's because he is. And he had a ridiculous game against New Dorp. He's absolutely special, and he's got a lot of help this year. AJ Zimmerman also added 2 touchdowns. And I believe there's a receiver, actually, I think his name was Connor Oliver, who also had a big game for Port Richmond. 47 points against New Dorp. That's legit. They're red hot, like you said, Dre. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see what they got against the Vikings. As now all these games count. We're going to look back at this one when when playoff time comes.
So from the Vikings perspective, talk about this game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Jared. I would almost call this a must-win game for the Vikings. Only because, this isn't the start to their season that they expected, and it's not the start that, the outsiders expected from Southshore. So with them having such a young team, it's very important that they find a way to pull out this W. Now, I feel like Tottenville was it was a tough first matchup, obviously, but you gotta play your schedule, no excuses, line up like they say. So I also didn't expect Port Richmond to come out this hot out the gate. So that's what's also going to make this game kind of interesting, because I feel like Port Richmond is a team that's definitely on the come up. And yeah, Southshore, this is going to be a very interesting. It's a must-win game for Southshore, in my opinion, against a hot opponent. So I can't wait to see how this one unfolds.
Yeah, and I'll be completely honest, there was some personal bias to this. I needed to get Kasim Cromwell on Sage Media before he graduated. I was trying any way. I'm like, how can I get Kasim on there? I was like juggling all the games. So I'm happy I can get it. He's been on Sage Media as I think he was a freshman or a sophomore. I mean, this is like years ago, obviously. But obviously he's like one of the top players in all the state, just like Jared was saying. So really, really excited for this game. And again, just for the playoffs, I always talk about that that number 4, maybe it might have to be 5, depending on how the rest of the league falls out. But I think 4 is going to be enough to get you into the playoffs. So if Port Richmond is able to pull this one off, they're already halfway there. So really, really excited for this game. And just like Dre is saying, like two of the 3 best players in that game. Yeah, between his name AJ Zimmerman, right? Right, Jared?
Yeah,
AJ Zimmerman, yup.
Kid's legit.
He had 2 touchdowns too last week, so
yeah, we'll definitely get into them. And James here talking about Madison. Trust me, we will just get your popcorn. We gotta get through the 4A first, but we will absolutely talk about that madness at James Madison. All right, but of course, we have to start with the game of the week in week 1, and it absolutely did not disappoint. 14-6, Curtis over Lincoln. Jared, your thoughts on this game, man?
Man, I mean, so it was so crazy because like I had to commentate, another game while this was going on, and I checked my phone and I just see Lincoln up 6-0 like in the second half, and I was just like, oh my goodness, I honestly didn't expect it, and I think a lot of people didn't expect Lincoln to come out the way they did and really have a big chance of winning this game, but the Rail Splitters believed it. They showed it. I was very impressed with Lincoln, but I also want to give Curtis a lot of credit because, listen, good teams find ways to win no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lincoln came out, they played really well. They did so well in the trenches. They blocked out all the noise from the last 2 weeks and balled out, but Curtis kept their composure. Jaden Melendez, Quadair Gomez, 2 big touchdowns in that fourth quarter. Great game, but definitely got to give credit to both sides. And I was looking at that game too. I mean, some of the best players in the PSAL for sure on both sides of the ball all throughout, which I'm sure we'll get into in this conversation.
I mean, 6-0 going into the third quarter. I mean, who would have expected that?
Absolutely. This was a game where, I'm seeing predictions before the game. I'm seeing a lot of people saying BTA, Curtis. I see a lot of people predicting Curtis to score 30 points. I lost count of how many 4th down stops the Lincoln defense made. I think Lincoln definitely put the city on notice with their trenches and their defense and just a very resilient performance from the Rail Splitters. And it says a lot that we're mentioning the losing team so much in a 14-6 game, but like Jared mentioned, Curtis is a team that's built for that type of game,
Mm-hmm.
They know how to pull through late. Coach Gambo and company, that mentality that they install on their team, they're built for those type of games, So great fight by Curtis pulling that W out, but I definitely seen a lot of positive things from the Rail Splitters in this game for sure.
Yeah, and someone I've been trying to say his name correctly the whole weekend. I probably butchered it a few times, but he's number 63 on Lincoln. Brian Marshelli.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm definitely saying it wrong. I'm definitely butchering it. He absolutely put on in this game. Like every single time I looked up, he's in the backfield. Quadair Gomez definitely knows who he is. You know what I'm saying? And it was just a tremendous job. And that was like the battle in the trenches was that was the most surprising thing I've seen in the regular season so far. If someone told me, I would not remember that Jared Surratt was on the field, I would not believe them. I've called at least 3 or 4 games of Jared and Jaleel. This is the first time I didn't mention them. It was an incredible effort from Lincoln in the trenches. You know, they were having some trouble running the ball. I thought they did a great job running the ball. Number 8, Makai Negron. And I think, let me find him, number 5.
Christian Young.
Yeah, I thought the two of them did a really good job. Some hard-nosed running. And a huge shout out to Christian Borhe. You know, I was really impressed with his performance. You know, people might have their own opinions. I was personally really impressed with his performance. You know, going to the castle, trying to upset the reigning PSAL champions, a team that has just been on a tear in the first 2 games of the season. And I thought Christian did a great job leading his team, keeping his team in it. You know, of course, there's some throws he wants to get back. There's, you know, the fumble. I'm sure he's kicking himself over the fumble and not protecting the ball and the QB power. But, you know, one thing that we were all saying about Christian is that watching how accurate he was, especially throwing those out routes, excellent job throwing the out routes. It was almost like an automatic first down every time they went to it. Number 4, Javian Alvarez. Hopefully you get better soon. I know he suffered an injury in that game, unfortunately. He was absolutely killing it in that first half. And I think it was, in number 14, Johnny Basil. I thought he was doing a great job at wide receiver. And number 16, maybe it wasn't 16, maybe it was 14. And I thought they were doing a great job keeping Lincoln in it. And it was really a tremendous job by them. And the clock. I see some people asking about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I have to talk about the holding call as well. Listen, referees had a tough night. Okay, we're not going to get on to them too much. We know how important they are. You can't sugarcoat it, right? When we saw the replay, you know, we saw the holding call on the Jaden Melendez touchdown from, you know, the Iceman, Vinny Canzaneri, and, you know, number 16, Francisco Ortiz. That's wrong on PSAL. They have him as someone else. That's why I got confused.
Francisco
no,
Ortiz,
they do have him right. Oh, excuse me. Oh, there are two 16s. Okay, because I saw Kenneth Singletary, and that's why I paused. I was like, no, that name doesn't sound familiar. And he's a linebacker. Okay, thank you. Yes, it was Francisco Ortiz. Thank you, Christian. Give him credit because I thought he did an incredible job. Listen, you know, people, I guess, you know, the old adage in football is, you know, they can call holding on every play and stuff like that. Yes, it was a blatant hold. They missed it. They missed the call. It did not decide the game, right? You know, Curtis was moving the ball. Yes, it would have been maybe a 2nd and 20. You know, you just never know what could have happened, right? So you can't. That's just a life. That's just a life tip. Don't live your life in what ifs. You know what I'm saying? Of course, in football, you know, we can play Monday morning quarterback and everything like that. But yes, they missed that call. The clock.
Yeah, the clock.
Referees. I don't have enough bail for you guys. You guys messed that up.
Yeah.
I can't. They messed it up. They it was bad. It was a really bad situation. If you guys know, you know, I always say this on the live streams. The clock I have on the live stream is not the official clock. Obviously, it's for the crowd at home, so you guys, you know, have context and what's happening in the game. Lyle calling it stoppage time is so funny. If anyone's into soccer, you would understand this. If you don't, just know that's very funny. But you know, my clock is not official. The clock on the scoreboard in the venue is also not official. So the referees usually try to do, have a walkie-talkie in the booth where they're doing the scoreboard, so they can kind of keep the time accurate. So the only official clock is with the referees or whoever the timekeeper referee is. I just don't know what happened. There was 43 seconds left. I think Lincoln were only maybe the 30-yard line. They ran a play, and then you look up and there's 8 seconds on the clock. And I think the kid ran out of bounds. And it was just crazy. It was like, wait, because if you guys were listening to the concert, I was like, wait, what just happened? How's there 8 seconds? That was definitely like a 4-second play. And maybe from there, they realized that there was a mistake. Okay, yeah, so Christian's saying it right there, yeah. When we reached, all right, let me put it on the screen. Yeah, when it was at midfield, they said that there was 43 seconds left. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Christian, that's the play I'm talking about, actually. I didn't even see your message before I started talking. Yeah, there was 43 seconds left. You guys were just about at midfield. You ran a play, and then there were 8 seconds left. And then you guys ran maybe 2 or 3 more plays. The clock went to 0. The crowd, everybody is, celebrating, about to walk off. And then they added a whole 43 seconds again. Listen, they're humans. They make mistakes. But, to end it off, at least from my standpoint, I said it during the interview with the players of the game. This is a championship performance, just like Jared was saying as well. Some nights you're not going to have your A game. Your fastball might not be working. You gotta have that changeup. Maybe you gotta rely on that slider. And one thing is that the Curtis defense and Coach Gambo is bend, don't break. They gave up the touchdown. They gave up the long pass early to Alvarez early in that first half, and they shut down shop. It was definitely a lesson for Lincoln. You have to capitalize on your opportunities, especially on the road. There were ample times where the defense got to stop, gave Lincoln the ball back. They get 3 first downs, and then there'd be a sack or a holding penalty. And when you're playing this high-level football, like, the margin of error is so small. So if you want to do something as tremendous as going on the road and upsetting the defending champions, you got to tighten up a bit, especially in those moments. But I think that's something that Lincoln will be able to do. And like I said, Curtis, bend, don't break, kept waiting for the opportunity, stayed in the game. Vinny Canzaneri didn't have his best game, but why do we call him the Iceman? We don't call him the Iceman because of what he does in the first quarter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Came through when it mattered, made a couple of excellent throws to Jaden Melendez, including the touchdown. And then when they were up 7-6, it was all about Quader Gomez grinding the ball out on the ground. He gets his touchdown, and he would kill me if I did not mention him. Let me make sure. Sorry, guys, give me a second. Let me make sure I go get this player's name, because if I don't say it, he will kill me the next time he sees me. Number 24, Giovanni Bernardo. Probably had the kick of the year. Did you guys see this onside kick?
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah. Like, Curtis just reloads on kickers, though. I don't know what's going on in Staten Island, but they just always find a kicker that can kick their behind off, though. And Curtis, like,
that was such an incredible, like, the backspin on the kick. It went exactly 12, because I thought the kick was short. I didn't even realize it went like 11 yards.
11 yards,
and
yeah.
just got stuck in the ground.
It's crazy.
So shout out to Giovanni, man. That is tremendous. That is tremendous. Anything else on this game, guys?
Yeah, I wanna shout out a couple guys from Curtis on defense.
Hmm.
There was a few guys who balled out. You know, I heard Ray mention them. He called them a maroon brick wall. And like I keep saying week in, week out, we were gonna mention this guy a lot. Number 9, Charles Simmons. You know, he had himself a day. A couple tackles for loss. I think maybe 5 tackles he had. Um, Number 16 as well, played very well for Curtis. Kashawn Shipman,
Yes, he
7
was tremendous.
tackles, 2 tackles for loss with a sack. Um, and then we mentioned earlier, you know, about Sarate not having a big game. But when you're an impactful player like that, you can impact the game without making tackles, without making sacks, without getting tackles for loss, you know, because you're getting double teamed. And then now the guys around you, they're gonna make plays, you know. So you had I can't pronounce this guy's name right. Sorry. Nidiame
Yes.
He had 3
Yeah.
sacks. He had himself a game as well. Um, so yeah, just like you mentioned, Andre, just a bend don't break W for Curtis. But these are the type of wins that build character, and these are the type of wins that championship teams they end up pulling out, you know. Wins like this where it's gritty down to the wire, championship teams find a way to win these games. So shout out to that Curtis defense as well, because we're mentioning what Lincoln's defense was doing, but Curtis, a lot of guys on Curtis definitely stepped up on the defensive side of the ball as well.
Jared, anything else on this one?
Nah, man, I think really made some good points there. Some other guys really stepped up, and when you have that type of depth, it's always so impressive. But yeah.
Well, maybe Jared's having some internet issues. Maybe just back. Oh, there you go.
I'm having Mac Wi-Fi tonight. I don't know.
The Mac Wi-Fi.
I hope you guys can hear me.
Yeah, you're good now. You're good now.
We can hear you.
Yeah. All right. Good. But not really, really impressive stuff. But yeah, that's all I got on this game.
Yeah, man.
One more thing before we go to the next game. Shout out to number 7 on Lincoln with the pick, first play of the game. That was a very big play. His name is what's his name? Number 7. And also Giovanni Napoleon. You know, way to set the tone for your defense, who played a hell of a game. We also have the Canarsie transfer. Ivory Jr., he had a pick as well. So shout out to those 2 guys. Jaden Brooks, another one of the top corners in the city, played a very, very good game. So I just want to shout out that Lincoln secondary as a unit. I feel like they played a very solid game. So shout out to those guys.
Jared, we have to get some kind of segment like the E shout outs, the TYJ shout outs.
I feel like it's only right, bro.
Absolutely.
You know, when we got these guys making plays week in, week out, I feel like it's only right they get their flowers, you know. So
no, absolutely, they deserve their flowers. So congrats to Curtis. I do have one more thing to say on this game. And we kind of to throw it to you guys. Have we been overlooking Curtis's inability to score a lot of points? Now, I know that they've had like some big results. You know, they put 40 on Wagner last year, and I'm sure they've done that as well. But if I think about their big games, even last year, you know, what was it? A 12-6 against E Hall. No, or was that a 6-0? No, I think it was a 12-6 against E Hall. You know, a 27 over Tottenville. Lincoln was a low scoring game last year. It was a low scoring game this year. I guess the chip game is, was a pretty decent scoring game. But I only mention that just because, we'll talk about, the 2 other top contenders in E Hall and Tottenville. And it was just something I was thinking about when I was like, if you got to go ban for ban, if you guys know what I'm saying, if you got to go ban for ban, that Tottenville has the money in the account. They're going to go to the ATM, take the money out, and throw the money in the money war. You know what I'm saying? Tottenville can score 50. They can score 60 if they really need to. E-Hall have that in their locker as well. So if we find a situation where the Curtis offense needs to carry them, are you guys concerned at all?
Personally, I don't feel, the type of team Curtis is, they're gonna win through their defense. And like everyone always says, defense wins championships. But the thing about their offense is, I feel like at any given game, they're capable of having breakout games. They have the weapons, they have the athletes. So it's interesting that you mentioned that, which is true, that they haven't been scoring a lot of points. But if you look at their playmakers, I feel like they have definitely a top 3 receiving core in the city. They have one of the best running backs in Quadir Gomez. So they're definitely capable of lighting up the scoreboard. So if they get into a game with another one of the contenders and it's a back and forth game, I think they're capable of hanging with anyone in the city in terms of scoring too. So yeah, it's just the situation where their defense is phenomenal. So
Yeah.
we're going to be in every game because of our defense. Our defense is going to dictate the outcome of majority of our games. But are they capable of putting up points? I definitely think their group can put up points. So,
Jared?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit different this year just because, last season you had a lot of, like all those senior offensive linemen. You also had Mukazis as well, kind of like, the lightning to Quadir's thunder.
yeah.
This year it's a little bit, I think they have to play a little bit like slower, more methodical and stuff like that. And they're winning more so through their defense. But at the same time, I like what you said. They have the weapons. They have, they have some really good receivers. They return their quarterbacks. I think, it's still a little bit early. They're gonna figure it out a little bit more, and I think they're gonna put up a lot of points and stuff like that. Is it gonna be as much as E-Hall and Tottenville? We'll see. But they have the talent.
Okay. I just wanted to pose that question before we moved on. And yes, Jason, thank you for mentioning this. And someone correct me if I'm wrong, but huge shout out. I'm very confident it was number 16 for Curtis Keshawn Shipman, who made that big hit at the end of the game. It was either 16 or 17. I'm pretty sure it was 16. Or was it 17? It might have been 17 now. It was either 16 or 17. Forgive me for not remembering. But, one of them made a big hit at the goal line after Borja was able to complete that pass. Yes, he would have had to go another 3 yards to get into the end zone, but this is football. You never know what madness could have happened. So huge shout out to Curtis for playing to the last whistle. All right, so that was the Sage Standout Game of the Week. Now we have a couple of games. Oh, it was number 14, so I was completely
14.
wrong. Okay. Sorry. So it was 14. Oh, yes, yeah, it was Frederick. Yes, thank you for that. Camajo. Camajo. I'm probably butchering that. But yeah, huge shout out to him. That was a really, really heads up, tremendous play. Now, there's a few games to go to. There's quite a few donuts. Quite a few donuts that we have to talk about. But I want to go to what I think was, let me take a look. Quick look. Yes. What I think was the most impressive win in the 4A and performance in the 4A of the weekend is Port Richmond. 47-16 against a Staten Island rival. This game is, again, we talk about how big these thank you, Lyle, for the confidence. How big, these early games are for these contenders trying to get into the playoffs. And Port Richmond put a big number on Newdorp. This was one of the games that Jared was talking about that was featured in Newsday. So I feel like it's only right to go to you first, Jared.
Yeah, it was super, super impressive stuff from Port Richmond. They completely flipped the switch from last year. Newdorp beat them. And this season, they're just playing with a purpose. I saw some clips and, I read articles about this game, and you could just tell this is a much different Port Richmond team. Not only Kasim Cromwell is obviously a superstar, but he, has a lot of help. The supporting cast is really coming to play. And on defense, man, they're playing well. They're playing good. They're playing good football, and it was not a waste of a Saturday.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
y'all are really crazy on social media, man.
Yeah, dude, a lot more.
Y'all are insane.
Say it. I think a lot more players. I mean, I'm not too much older than these guys, but I think they have a lot more guts nowadays. At least when it comes to social media, I don't know, but it's good stuff.
Like, is it like required for Kasim Cromwell to like score a special teams touchdown every year, but like he's supposed to be punting the ball, but then he fumbles it and scores a 60-yard touchdown? He did it against Lincoln last year, and now he does it against Newdorp.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, and he's a guy who's on pace for. I wouldn't put 20 TDs past this kid right here. A guy who was the Staten Island Player of the Year last year for a clear reason. And I think it was cool how Jared mentioned they're playing with a purpose. That's a good way to describe it. I was gonna say maybe like a chip on their shoulder, maybe like they have something to prove. Because I feel like when it comes to Staten Island football, Port Richmond is one of the programs that may get overlooked when it comes to mentioning these other schools like Tottenville and Curtis. So, this is the offense that they have 457 total yards against Newdorp. So that's very explosive. To put up numbers like that means that, you're scoring a ton of points. And they almost put up a 50 ball. They have a quarterback who I think is on the rise. Cameron Smith is his name.
Yeah.
132 passing yards with a touchdown. So it's looking like things is coming together for Port Richmond. And, Southshore, like we mentioned at the start of the show, that's a game that I can't wait to see. A team that's in need of a win against a very hot Port Richmond team. So it's definitely going to be a dogfight, I think. I think it's going to be a very good game.
Yeah, and something I guess it's my job, right? I'm always trying to put teams into perspective because I think sometimes people get kind of lost in the moment of what's happening right in front of them. Port Richmond made the playoffs 2 years ago. They made the playoffs 2 years ago. They were 8 seed, and then last year they had an extremely, extremely tough schedule. I'm pretty sure they're 0-9 last year, right? So everyone's like, "Oh, Port Richmond, they garbage," right? That's what everyone says. They're garbage, right? But that's just not the case. They have excellent players. They have one of the best players in New York State, just like Jared was saying. And now with that, this is a really big win, avenging the loss from last year against Newdorp. And it's a tremendous job now to bring context into this game because it's important. JT, their quarterback JT was hurt, so they had to have their backup quarterback. I'm pretty sure is number 7 play. So it's always gonna be difficult to win a competitive game against with your backup quarterback. JT Rose is a player that we rate very highly, so hopefully he's able to play soon. But yeah, from the Newdorp standpoint, this was one of my concerns with Newdorp. Like if you get into a high scoring game, their offense just doesn't have that home run element to it. So hopefully Newdorp's able to find that. That's definitely going to rely on JT Rose being healthy. So we wish him to a quick recovery. But yeah, these are two teams I think are going to be in the thick of the playoff race. Real quick, to really appreciate always the John Jay guys are always in the chat showing love. We'll try to get to John Jay later.
I got a bone to pick with John Jay.
Oh, early. Carrot on the smoke. My God, Coach Mack was the word. Anything else on this game, guys?
Actually, yeah, one thing real quick. So I briefly mentioned Port Richmond's defense, right? And listen, I think it was actually 47-8 at one point, just because of how well they were playing. But I mean, some of these guys like Jaden Dela Cruz, had 8 tackles for them. Zaire Thompson had 7 tackles. Like, a lot of these guys are just flying around making plays, man. And I just feel like they're coming together, but we really get to see it when they go to the floss.
All right, so we're, like I said, we do have a section sponsored by Krispy Kreme. But before we get to that, I actually want to skip ahead to this game, which I thought was a very, very interesting, a very, very good result. 38-26. Brooklyn Tech over DeWitt Clinton. I just want to start off saying, like, I am very. Actually, I'm gonna throw this one to Jared. I know that Brooklyn Tech won, but I know there was like a ton of DeWitt Clinton players that you wanted to shout out.
Yeah. Clinton, they got a nice little mix of youth and experience this season. And I think a lot of people overlooked them, coming into the year because of their schedule. And, they didn't have a ton of, a ton of success last year. They didn't have a ton. But this season, they got some exciting players. On defense, there's this kid named Calvin Stewart, who I wish I could show you guys the clip, made an unbelievable play against Brooklyn Tech. Kid's only a sophomore. He's a sick athlete. I think he's going to make a lot of tackles this season. But then you look at them offensively, and quarterback Joshua Upegi is throwing the ball extremely well. He did really good against Lehman. He played well this game, and he's a senior. He threw the ball really well. And and a wide receiver by the name of Ron Washington, just a sophomore, also played really well. Washington went up and got it, made some nice moves in the open field. And then a running back, man, Sir and Pastriana, I think that's how you pronounce it. Like, he's an exciting player to watch going forward. Like, I think Clinton's got a good offensive core and just some good athletes that I was just super impressed with when looking at some of this game. So I think there's a lot to be excited about despite their tough schedule this season.
Yeah. So I know we did a little backwards, but I did expect Brooklyn Tech, the reigning 3A champions, to make some noise. I thought they were favored in this game, and I just saw this on, and Clinton scoring a big win against Lehman last year. I just wanted to give Clinton some shine. They don't get a lot of shine on here, so I wanted to highlight them. And my guy James, you guys are just so impatient. You're so impatient. Just wait. Just wait a minute. Just wait a minute.
Yeah, I think it was actually 8 catches.
Yeah, and you were wrong. Yeah. And you were wrong. It was 8. It was 8 catches. Ezra Jose. I mean,
he's a dog.
Yeah. Just talk about this player. This is a player you saw even since the summertime, man.
Yeah, Ezra is a guy who, I'm watching this kid in 7-on-7, runs very crisp routes. Mind you, I'm watching him against multiple schools. Same result. Same result against all schools. Great routes, great hands, good speed. I knew that he was going to have a breakout year this year. And then the crazy thing is, I mentioned it to Jared, and Jared knew exactly who this kid was. So yeah, he's arguably, you can say he's definitely top 5 wide receivers in the PSAL this year. He might get overlooked because he goes to Brooklyn Tech, but this is a guy that can make plays with the best of them. Like we mentioned, 8 catches, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
They have a junior quarterback, Cole Scanlon, 315 yards, 5 total touchdowns.
Just tremendous.
4 passing, 1 rushing. So like I mentioned in the past shows, Brooklyn Tech is definitely a sleeper school for me, even now after this win. But they're a school that I feel like could compete with most 4A schools. So this is a big test for them this week against Eagle. I can't wait to see how that one goes.
And I don't want to get too far ahead of this. I think it's a big test for Eagle as well.
Absolutely.
I think Brooklyn Tech has a lot.
Absolutely.
Has a lot to bring to the table. I interviewed Coach Pugh. Coach Pugh not ducking no smoke. He's not ducking no smoke.
Good coach.
He don't care what
Great
Eagle
coach.
did in the first 2 games. He's gonna out scheme his he said, like, my goal is to out scheme every coach I go against, you know? And with a team like Brooklyn Tech, with players who will run through a wall, just like, Tristan Suarez. I know he didn't have a huge game, but we know who Tristan Suarez is. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? I'm excited for that one. 38 points, a competitive DeWitt Clinton team. Well, you guys can probably tell I'm excited to preview that game, which we're going to do very, very soon.
Let me
All
say
right.
one thing, Jared. We see him in the comments here, Caleb Fisher.
Yes, dude. Took the words out of my mouth. Go on.
Yeah, I just seen his name pop up here. He had a 2 TD day too. So shout out to Caleb,
Yeah, we're gonna talk about more BK Tech stuff later, but yeah, you know what? I'll just leave it for the preview. I'm excited. We'll get there.
Yes. And guys, just so you guys know, I reorganized things a little bit. We're gonna do the game of the week preview when we're done with the 4A. I wanted to move it up in the show a bit. Obviously, we
Sorry, Caleb.
Yeah. So we had 3
TD
touchdowns.
Day.
They didn't do you justice on PSAL.
Oh, pick 6. Wow.
Okay. Oh, he had a pick 6. Oh, that's tough. Oh, I see it now. I see it. That's tough.
Yes.
That's a day. That's a day.
Oh, the man is in the chat himself. Salute to Ezra Jose, man. We're gonna see you in a few days.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, just to highlight the academics for Brooklyn Tech, and just the story. Listen, I guess I'm Mr. Promote myself nowadays, but just go back and watch my interview with Coach Pugh. Like, it was really, really great. He spoke about their struggles a few years ago, especially during COVID, and how they built back that program up to win a 3A championship, and now they win their first game in the top flight division. Brooklyn Tech is definitely a very admirable program.
That's a good team too.
Yeah, man. Oh. All right, so it's time for the Dunkin' Donuts section of this show. So this game wasn't a donut. It wasn't a donut, right? Tottenville versus Southshore, 42-8. This was the member only stream. Again, I just want to thank you guys again. I really, really was happy with the turnout for this, and hopefully, the member only streams are something that grows. Tottenville, Southshore. I'll give you the first lick.
Yeah, in terms of, Tottenville, I feel like offensively, it was a game where they didn't make many mistakes. It was a game offensively, that they were on pace to score more than what the final score actually was. I think that it was a good sign to see, Justin McGuire perform. Because when it comes to Tottenville and their offense, we already know what to expect week in, week out from, Tyshawn Bent, Corey Brown, from Constantino. We can expect these guys to make plays for the Pirates offense, but I think it's always good to see Justin McGuire step up and have a day. Because if Tottenville is going to, win the big one or whatever the case may be, McGuire is going to have to, play a key role in that. I think he finished with 200 passing yards with 4 touchdowns. Like I mentioned, at one point he was perfect, no incomplete passes. So yeah, I feel like this was a very good win for the Pirates, who they won all of their games so far this season, including the non-league games. So this is a team that's picking up momentum as well. So yeah, shout out to Tottenville.
Sure.
Yeah, man, Tottenville, they handled business this past weekend. And yeah, I give them credit for, Southshore challenged them to throw the football, and Tottenville responded. Justin McGuire did his thing. Those receivers did their thing. So, it was good stuff from them. Honestly, not too much to say. I think, the Pirates just did what they were supposed to do. For Southshore, I think I have a lot more to say about them after next week. What happens against Port Richmond, where you're in a situation where, in my opinion, for the Vikings, it's tough to call it a must win this early in the year, but at the same time, I kind of like what you said earlier. For Southshore, especially momentum wise, got to come out hot here.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have a lot to say, especially because this was Southshore's first game of the season. They didn't play a non-league game, so this is their first game of the season.
Still giving that mulligan, huh?
Yeah, he's giving them the mulligan. Listen, it was all right. No, seriously, no, it was a better defensive effort. I mean, it might sound crazy to say that, and it was 42-8 game, but I definitely saw a better defensive effort. I thought the D line was very, very good. Excuse me, I'm kind of talking on the turn. I need to get my notes out because there were a few people I wanted to shout out. Number 54 and number 99 for Southshore. If you guys mind, just throw their names in the chat.
99 was there last year. He was definitely starting last year.
Yeah, I can look it up right now, but just throw their names in the chat. I thought they played extremely, extremely well. Obviously, that Tottenville offensive line is a tough offensive line to deal with. I think they replaced, if I'm not mistaken, 4 or 5 starters. And they're still tough. So Brandon, Tristan, let me know what number Brandon is. I want to make sure I shout him out. Oh, he's number 99. Yeah, so shout out Brandon for sure. I thought he did a tremendous job. Blew up a lot of plays. The South Shore linebackers and secondary, it's all about experience and repetition. Their play recognition was a little slow in this game, right? And South Shore hasn't played a team of this caliber, since the Curtis game. Excuse me, Curtis and Lincoln, right? But that was in the playoffs at the end of the year, with, of course, a completely different team. There's a lot of things you can get away with when you're not playing the top caliber teams in this league. E-Hall, Tottenville, Curtis, Lincoln, they play at a different speed. If you are a half step slow, if you're a safety and you take, and this might sound, nitpicky, I might sound like a coach. Oh, Dre sounding like a coach, or coach always says, if you take 2 read steps backwards, you could already be gone. The angle can be gone. Why can it be gone? Because Tottenville is so fast. Now, I'm not even talking about Corey Brown. Tottenville, their offensive linemen are so fast, so tenacious that they're going to get to you. And now let's talk about Tyshawn Bent and Corey Brown. Yeah, they're like that. Mm-hmm. they are like that. I saw quite a few times. A safety or a linebacker is one-on-one with Tyshawn, and it was barbecue chicken. Like there's nothing else. It was barbecue chicken. They had no shot at him. And that is the ability of the top players in this league. Nick Constantino, he dropped his shoulder on a lot of you boys. He said, "You try to jam on the line, bah."
Yeah.
Dropped his shoulder, gone.
Nick Constantino, yeah.
Exactly. My God, Blur is correct. That's what a blur really that's what a blur really is. A blur isn't just the speed that these guys are moving at. It's every single battle, every single detail in a game is so important. Just like that battle at the line of scrimmage, you might think in practice, I'm going against the scout guy and whatever. I'm just gonna run next to him, go through the motions. In the game, you miss that hand, boom, it's barbecue chicken. It's Nick Constantino. So shout out to him. 2 for Nick, 2 for Corey, 2 for Tyshawn. I mean, it's just business as usual for Tottenville. I don't think we learned that much from Tottenville. What I'm saying? We know how they give it up.
Another day in the office.
Their defense, I think their defense has improved from last year. Omar was great. Kyle Charles was great, punching the ball out for the fumble. Yeah, it's a few people. I think I was talking to E. The other week, they're like, oh, he was saying like, I'm going to judge, Southshore in the next game, not the Tottenville game. But me, I was like, no, I'm judging them in this game. And I was happy with the defensive line play. I think that like I said, it'll come with repetition. But yeah, there's just the play recognition of the linebackers and the secondary needs to increase. Offensively, I thought George actually showed some good flashes in that game for sure. He was able to move the ball. I think there were quite a few drives where he got 3-4 first downs. Number 1, Tamir. I was really, really impressed with him. Number 4, Raleigh. I was really impressed with number 4 as well. And Silas. Congratulations to Silas and to Silas's first touchdown in the purple, and George, his first varsity touchdown. So, definitely shout out to those guys for getting that score late. No one likes a donut. And Tone, yeah, that's gonna be. We're not looking past weeks, but yeah, Tottenville E-Hall, yeah, I'm extremely. Also, Rowley like the watch. Okay, I was saying Raleigh. All right, thanks, Lyle. So it's Rowley like their watch. Thank you. Tone, this is a big statement. And just because it's Tone, that's the only reason I'm flaming Tone. Because it's a big statement. It's week 1, Tone. It's week 1. Yeah, man. So anything else on this game, guys?
Nah.
Yeah, I just want to. It was another kid who I want to mention from Southshore. It wasn't the best day defensively for Southshore, but there was a linebacker number 15, Cedric Francilione, I believe that's his name. He's one of the kids who stood out to me defensively. Made a few nice plays. Wasn't scared to tackle. To bring some pain. So. Yeah, shout out to number 15 on Southshore, man. Hopefully that energy can be contagious with your fellow defenders and linebackers. But number 15 definitely had a game. I hope that was his name. That's what it said on PSAL. But shout out to number 15 from Southshore. Christian Dennis. Sorry, Christian Dennis. The PSL rosters were wrong, but shout out to Christian. I believe they said that was a young kid too, a sophomore or something like that. So keep balling.
The TYJ shout outs, man. I love it.
Sir.
All right. So I'm just queuing up the stats for this next game. So now we're officially sponsored by Krispy Kreme. All right, so the first one of the day. Eagle Academy 40, Fort Hamilton nothing.
Yeah, this was another day in the office.
Yeah, man. I mean, put on a passing clinic for sure.
Yeah.
So if I read some stats.
Talk about my sliders.
Yeah, no, that's
Martin Koppelman, 9 for 12, 136 yards, 3 touchdowns. Aaron Smith, 4 for 8, 107 yards, 3 touchdowns.
6 tugs between the 2 quarterbacks.
And this is without Juju. Juju did not play in this game.
Wow.
I didn't even notice that watching alive. I
guess I'll take the first stab at this one. Hey, listen, it was really tough day at the option at the office for Fort Hamilton. Fort Hamilton's a team. They were the runners up in the 3A. They lost a lot of big players. They're kind of breaking in, a lot of new, quite a few new players, new quarterback, new to the position. And this Eagle Academy team is impressive. They are impressive. So it's a really, really tough game to go into. I think the ends, we talk about the ends for Eagles, Sincere and Chase. We talk about them all the time. Like, they caused a lot of problems for Aiden Porter. I do think that Eagle will end up being, one of the teams we talk about down the stretch in the season. So I don't think that, Fort Hamilton should be too down on this one. I think they kind of ran into a buzzsaw a bit. But, like I said, it's all about hopefully getting to that 4 wins. So hopefully Fort Hamilton can find that. So E, you can have the more fun part of it. Talk about Eagle, E.
Yeah,
That is more fun.
Yeah, I feel like this was a game where Eagle did what they were supposed to do, I would say. But it was good to see that offense clicking on all cylinders. Like we mentioned, both quarterbacks with 3 touchdowns apiece. Martin with 3 touchdowns, Aaron with 3 touchdowns. Zaire had a nice touchdown catch. That's the thing about this Eagle offense. I feel like they're so balanced. It's going to be weeks where CJ might get off. It's going to be weeks where Zaire might get off. It's going to be weeks where Juju might get off. It's going to be weeks where Tyler might get off. And that's a good problem to have for an offensive coordinator. You can never have too many weapons on offense. And that's the situation for the sliders, which is, what they're called. So CJ McCracken with a 2-touchdown day. They have so many weapons. I almost forgot to mention Josiah Brown, who had 2 touchdowns on a day. So yeah, this is just a group that is just playmakers everywhere, and I mean literally everywhere. A very underrated offensive line, who I actually think is a very solid group as well, because we're mentioning the skill guys without forgetting the important piece to the offense, which is the guys up front. So shout out to the Eagle offensive line, because like I said, I feel like that's a very solid group. So just another day in the office for Eagle, like we mentioned. And Eagle versus Tech this week is a game to see. So can't wait for Friday to see that one.
Jared?
Yeah, no, I mean, the Eagle Brooklyn Tech game just really, really intrigues me. But I'll start off with this though. Yeah, Eagles passing attack each week has just really impressed me. And this week, obviously, they really put on a show. And I mean, no Juju, and the fact that they did what they did, it just doesn't matter. They just have that many weapons. Really, really impressive. Yeah, no, big time win for Eagle, and also shutting out Fort Ham. And I just think Eagle just keeps on building that momentum. They're on a roll, and I think I'm just gonna get more into it when we talk about them and BK Tech.
Yeah, and the key phrase that you guys use quite a few times is game breakers. To me, that's a very special term to make, right? There are good players, there are players who make plays, but players that can turn the game on its head by themselves, that's a really special term to me, game breakers. And I think that, Josiah Brown proved to us many of times last season that he's a game breaker in this league. You see it again. There was a play where I think 3 people are trying to tackle him and he spins off of them and scores. So we know what Josiah Brown can do. And I think I'm really ready to say, CJ McCracken and Zaire Shoulders are also at that level of game breaking kind of players, just how good they are in space. I mentioned, Nick Constantino, like him in space is very, very scary. And I think CJ and Zaire are about at that level as well, as like in space. Like you as a D-back, if I know like I don't have help over the top, it's a tough place to be, covering any of these guys. And then you throw Juju into the mix. And then you just like, Flav is saying right here, I didn't even mention Travis Harris. It's a tremendous group of offensive players. It's a tremendous group of playmakers on defense. Sincere, Chase Hyson, Daryl Gatewood, a player I like to mention a lot. Of course, KV and Beatty, Shiloh. It's a really good group of playmakers. Again, I know we keep teasing it, but we will talk about the game against Brooklyn Tech later, which I'm very excited for. But this Eagle team has a lot of potential, but it's potential. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't earn the right for us to say all these wonderful things until you do it. You know what I'm saying? If we use a team like Southshore, right? Like Southshore has a ton of credit in the bank. That coaching staff has a ton of credit in the bank for going to the semifinals in the PSAL last year. You know what I'm saying? So just like you're saying, just don't settle and keep working. Anything else in this game, guys?
I just wanna pinpoint the comment that someone mentioned here, which is very true. Nassim Thomas, they haven't even played the toughest teams in their conference yet. That's an obvious statement, but it's true. I can't wait to see these guys against E-Hall. I know E-Hall's on their schedule. Against tougher comp, I want to see how this team looks against tougher comp. I know what a lot of these players are capable of, but I want to see how they do against, higher talent levels and better competition. Yeah, just one last thing on the Eagle game against Forham. The defense gave up 34 total yards. 34 total yards for
Excuse
Hamilton. That's
me?
what they had. For Hamilton had 34, 3-4 total yards. So to shout out to that defense as a group. Hell of a performance.
It's a little crazy. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, 34 total yards offensively for Forham. Yep. So that defense came to play as well.
Yeah. Wow. Huge shout out to the
Absolutely. Turn up. You definitely played Imhotep. Stood 10 toes, but it's a whole different ball game when you're playing E-Hall and it gets real. So, like I said, I can't wait for those type of games.
It's more pressure.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Even though Imhotep, obviously, they're a great Pennsylvania team, but listen, when the lights are at its brightest, PSAL comp, nothing bigger.
Yes, sir. That's all I was saying. And I'm a fan of Eagle, but I just want to see them against better comp. I can't wait to see that. That's all.
No, absolutely. And yeah, there's a lot to say at Eagle. We're going to talk about them more. So let's move on. Let's go here. E-Hall 35-0 over JFK. I think this in general, just historically, is a tough matchup for JFK, just stylistically. Like I think E-Hall and their defense like a muddy kind of game. You know what I'm saying? And JFK kind of lives with that kind of play style. So I think it's a really tough matchup for JFK in general. Who wants to take this one first?
Honestly, do a quick shout out real quick for E-Hall. They didn't have Amir or Jair this game, which are their top two running backs, but Ricard Dobbins had a phenomenal day. 2 touchdowns, stepped up. Want to give him credit. Honestly, just E-Hall still be able to run the football is a big deal. Being able to score those touchdowns right there, and they shut out Kennedy, who always has a tough offense. They got Batansis and that, and E-Hall they delivered. And I saw some tough hits in that game, and they came to play.
Yeah, I also feel like, this was a game where one of the top 4A schools in the city took care of business and did what they were supposed to do. Especially after how those non-league games went down for E-Hall. So I feel like it's good for E-Hall to get back on the right track and take care of business, I would say. Kendall went out of this game early first quarter, I believe. Tommy stepped in and had a
Sorry, was he injured?
that I'm not too sure.
Okay.
I know he didn't play after, I believe, the first quarter. Tommy stepped in, a couple touchdown passes, two nice TD passes actually, one to Jace and one to Victor. So it was good to see Tommy get active and make some good throws. Like Jared mentioned, the number 40 kid, what was his last name? Dobbins?
Yeah, Dobbins,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was good to see him step in with no Jair Lewis and no Amir. So for him to step in and have a day, it shows the depth that E-Hall has, which is always a good sign. Yeah, and defensively, they definitely some guys were making some good hits, nice plays on defense as well. So just a good win to start the season off for E-Hall.
Yeah, I don't have much to say on this game other than, E-Hall, their standard does not drop, no matter who they're playing. So that's so impressive for them. They've beaten a lot of teams quite a few times in a row, but they definitely have a lot of success in this matchup. And I think it's important for them, even in a matchup like this, to have this donut because, going, Tottenville's coming to town or you're going to Tottenville's crib in 2 weeks, you want to make sure your tackling is very, very solid going into that game. So huge shout out to E-Hall and everybody over there. The next game, I was really hoping to. Wagner did not put up their stats, which is very, very frustrating. Hopefully, you guys have some stuff to say on this.
I got some stuff actually.
All right.
Yeah, just give me.
Do you want to be on the screen, or you want to take this one off?
Yeah, I'll be back after this game. I'll be back, man. I'll be back right after this one. Oh man. 41 donut.
Sorry. Listen, we're not gonna do this every week. We know that Canarसी's struggling this year, right? But we have to cover the game, of course. Wagner and their new offense, putting up 41 points. Jared?
Yeah, so I'm pulling up right now. So Wagner, they had an impressive day offensively. Obviously, you see the 41, but Toa, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, Toa Spencer, big performance. He had a touchdown through the air. He also added 139 yards on the ground, had a touchdown.
What?
Caden
139 yards. Wow.
Yeah, Caden Alejandro also had 85 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. Justin Phillips added 57 rushing yards and a touchdown.
Wow.
Timmy Ojo got in on the fun with a touchdown. And so did Luke Sinclair. And then also Mo Hassan and Elijah Marciano were doing their thing, getting in the backfield, had a couple tackles for loss apiece. So, Wagner, some of their ballers were doing their thing.
Yeah, man. Listen, from a Canarsie point of view, don't stop playing. All right.
Yeah, please.
We understand we all understand what's going on. We have to cover the game. We understand that you guys are building up the program, right? The best thing that you guys can do is, be the pioneers, be the foundation of something new, right? Come back and be like, yeah, like I remember when we had a tough season and now we're seeing you guys doing great. So just keep competing, please. E?
Yeah, I feel like, obviously this was a tough one for Canarsie. Like we all mentioned, we know the situation over there. So just trust the process, guys. Come in every week, compete, and that's all we can do for this year. Shout out to Wagner. 41 a donut win. Scoring 40 points in your first game. That's definitely a good stepping stone. So let's see how Wagner looks as the season progresses. So good first win for Wagner for sure.
All right, so that's all of the 4A games. I'm very, very confident. If I forgot one, someone let me know, but I'm pretty sure I didn't. So,
Max
like I
said,
said,
House of Pain.
I reorganized things a bit. Usually, we do the game of the week preview at the end, but I know some people want to run to Monday Night Football and stuff like that. So, I wanted to move it up, and we kind of like have half spoken about this. See, Jerry, I pump fake you there. You see, Jerry, that's why you gotta listen to let me finish. You see, you getting
Sorry, Jerry.
Sorry, Jerry. Right after this, Jerry. Eagle versus Brooklyn Tech in this week 2 of the Sage Standout Game of the Week series. Jared, go ahead on this one, man.
Man, I'm so excited. We're going to see a couple things in this game. All right. First things first, just from, the first 2 weeks, both of these teams have been throwing the ball all over the field. I mean, the passing attacks for each of these programs have been awesome through the first couple weeks, but listen, this is what we're going to find out. Brooklyn Tech, well, you're going to get welcome to really get welcome to the 4A this week of the higher end teams. That's no disrespect to Clinton. It's just, will you be able to block Eagle Academy's defensive line? That is going to be a huge story in this game. Will they be able to give Cole Scanlon time? And if they do give Cole Scanlon time, then Eagles secondary is going to be really tested because Ezra Josie and Caleb Fisher, they're dogs. So will Eagles secondary, be able to keep up with that? That's going to be very entertaining. And then that same exact matchup on the flip side, Brooklyn Tech, do you have the DBs to keep up with the best wide receiver core in the PSAL? Because that kind of scares me a little bit. So we're going to find out a lot about both of these teams this week.
Yeah, so I actually feel like this has the potential to be a better game than we all expect. But like Jared mentioned, I think the key is, can Brooklyn Tech's offensive line give enough time for that offense to get the ball rolling? Because I definitely feel like they have the playmakers with Ezra and company to make things interesting. So, and also I want to see defensively how Brooklyn Tech secondary is looking against, the playmakers of Eagles. So definitely a matchup that I can't wait to see.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip it. I'm really excited to see how the Eagle defense actually adjusts to Brooklyn Tech. Like, I'm someone who, if you guys can't tell, like, I have a lot of faith in Coach Pugh. I think Coach Pugh is a brilliant mind. He's going to scheme something up. And the thing I'm the most curious to see is how well prepared Eagle look. You know what I'm saying? Does Brooklyn Tech come out the gate strong because they're doing a few things that you guys weren't expecting? You guys weren't paying attention in film because you thought it was an easy dub, and now Brooklyn Tech is coming out with some formations you're not ready for. Boom, they hit you with something, right? Tristan Suarez is one of the toughest runners in this whole league, so they can turn around and hand the ball off to him. Ezra Jose, we already said how good of a player he is. This Eagle secondary, how can you compete with a wide receiver that's at the same caliber as your wide receivers? You know what I'm saying? So I'm really, really excited to see the real chess match between the two coaches for sure. Eagle on paper, they have the athletes. They have the athletes on paper. But thank God we don't play football on paper. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it's a tremendous test. Some people are like, oh, Dre, why'd you pick this game as a game of the week, Dre? Look at the rest of the schedule. One and two.
Yeah. So it's a slow week.
And two, like, two. I am extremely intrigued with this matchup. You know, obviously this platform is more than just 3 teams, right? This league is more than 3 teams. You know, I'm not going to sit here and have game of the week Curtis, Lincoln, Curtis, E Hall, Lincoln, Tottenville every week just because it's Curtis, E Hall, Lincoln, and Tottenville. No, like, you know, the point of this game of the week is to kind of tell the story of the PSAL, and the story of the PSAL is not just the traditional top heavyweights. You know what I'm saying? And Brooklyn Tech is a team I do have a lot of faith in. I do think that this team has the ability to sneak into the playoffs. They're already at 1 win, but as Andre Johnson always say, you know, that 4-win mark is very, very important. So I am really, really excited to see what Coach Pugh and the engineers have cooking for this game, man. Anything else, guys?
Yeah, this is. I mean, I'm just really excited because I mean I know Eagle played Imhotep. They played some tough teams, but there's just something about going against the 3A champs, and I feel like people aren't valuing this game enough because I know what Brooklyn Tech has in store. So I'm just excited to see how they match up with it, and the same with vice versa because BK Tech this is the toughest team that we've seen them play. So it's like, all right, are you guys kind of as advertised? Because I go to people like away from the show and I'm texting and I'm like, I love Brooklyn Tech. Like, and I always tell them and stuff like that of how good they could be, but we're really going to find out because this is the most athletic team that they've gone against, whether last year, this year, and I don't really think it's close.
One thing I will say, Brooklyn Tech is pretty comfortable at this field. This is where they won their 3A championship, so they're comfortable here. Anything else on this game?
Yeah, I just always feel that it's been this way for years. As Brooklyn Tech is always a group of kids who kind of get overlooked because they're not the most athletic group, but they find a way to get the job done. So what Jared mentioned, that's the thing I'm gonna pay attention to. Athletically, they haven't really played a group of a bunch like Eagle yet in terms of that many athletes at one time. Even in the 3A last year, they didn't see anything like what they're about to face this upcoming Friday. And then in terms of their playmakers, I'm interested to see how their playmakers is going to step up against, this Eagle bunch. So I want to see a few things with this game here. But it's more of, in my opinion, can Brooklyn Tech hang with a talented bunch like this? Because if they come out and put up a fight, I feel like that's a very positive sign for them going forward. So this is definitely a big test for Tech.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm not doubting them at all. I learned that, like I said, for years of watching Brooklyn Tech play. They have a way to surprise you, Brooklyn Tech. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They play fundamentally sound football. They've always been that way, and you don't have to be flashy to win games. So I can't wait to see this game period on Friday.
Yeah, Trench is going to be interesting.
Yes.
Real quick here, this is a very good question. It's a question I've been wondering for quite a few weeks. Where are the Queens team at? Pierre, if someone find Pierre, let me know where the Queens teams are. Maybe Pierre will know.
Pierre won by forfeit this week, so congrats, Pierre. But other than that,
where are the Queens? Yo, Mac, where the Queens teams at? I think the Sharks know. Okay. All right, I'm making jokes. I'm poking a little fun at Queens. I really hope that there are teams from Queens, a team in Queens that plays at a higher division soon.
Yeah,
let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say there. All right, guys. 3A time. 3A. No. In all seriousness, all right. I'm about to get a little disrespectful. Did Queens? Someone let me know. Did Queens win a game this week?
Oh, in
outside of Eagle Queens.
Well, William C. Bryant, they're in Queens, right?
There you go.
Oh,
Shout out to William C.
Brian got a
Bryant.
W. Okay, shout
Yeah,
out to
man.
yep.
Yeah, their quarterback Mahdi had a pretty big day. They beat, I think it was Campus Magnet. That's a 2A game, but I like Bryant. They were in the 3A last year. They competed. They brought back some talent. Now they're in the 2A. I like Bryant. Look out for that. Same with Springfield Gardens. Springfield Gardens beat Kip. So some 2A Queens schools getting it done. Josiah Lawler, Springfield Gardens, and Brian Ali.
Shout out to Springfield Gardens too.
Some quick 2A love.
Adams won as well. Okay, shout out to John Adams.
Thank you. Yeah, because it's just I don't know. It just feels weird there not being a Queens team in the top division. It doesn't feel right. You know what I'm saying? Like it used to be Bayside.
Campus Magnet used to be in the
Campus Magnet. Yeah.
Well, one of those Eagle schools need to take that leap of faith. Let's just put that out there.
Let's put it out there. All right, guys, it's time.
There he is. Very happy you saw it.
Oh, he's been summoned.
I'm here, man.
Oh, that's my guy. Shout out to Coach Pierre, man. I saw you celebrated a birthday the other day, so happy birthday to my guy, for real. All right. It's time, y'all. 3A talk. 3A, you have a graphic. Absolutely.
Oh. Big time.
What the hell?
What a game.
What in the world?
What a game.
Wow.
Yeah, but real quick, Makai, what's up, my guy? We just rewind back. We covered you guys earlier, man. Yo. 40-32, James Madison over Truman in overtime.
Damn.
Coming back from a 26-0 deficit.
What? They were down 26-0? Nah, I didn't know that.
26-0 in the first half. They scored to make it 26-8 before the end of the first half. I mean, this was the game of the weekend, right? Like this
gotta be, right?
This was the game of the weekend. Who wants the first stab? Jerry, you want first stab at this one, man?
Yeah, I mean, this game was insane. I was actually just I was just looking at it before the podcast. Wow, I don't even really know where to start, but both offenses obviously really good. Truman got out to that lead, but no quit in Madison, that's for sure. I mean, they really proved it. And listen, dude, they have, and I'm saying no quit, dude. A lot of these kids are like underclassmen for Madison. Like
they're young.
Sophomores making plays. And all right, we'll get right into it. Gavin Pelzer is a gamer. Like I said, I liked what he did last week and everything. He comes out 3 touchdowns, including the game winner. I mean, this is a young man on a mission right now for this Madison team. And yeah, he just made so many plays, but he also had some help, right? Because some of those other sophomores too, Travis Leahy with a big time return for a touchdown. He was phenomenal for them. And their quarterback, I'm sorry to mispronounce his name. If I do, I apologize. But Raynel Valerio Villain, I think. This kid, 3 touchdowns, obviously, threw him to Gavin, but, over 150 yards. He, really played well. Just a lot of love for this Madison team who made some plays. Tobias Millord had a big time play, over 70 receiving yards for him. And on defense, in one of my videos, I might have shouted him on the podcast, definitely one of my videos, Kenneth Lucen was a beast against Newdorp. He really showed out in this one against Truman with 10 tackles, 2 for loss, and Demir Exum also had a 10-tackle game. So the fact that, all these playmakers from Madison, it's really just exciting stuff. And Lucen, by the way, great linebacker. He's also a junior. So Madison's young. They're in the 3A. They're competing. This is all really good stuff.
Yeah, and one thing that we spoke about last week is, the semifinals of 3A last year, right? I don't remember who played who, but um, Fort Hamilton, Brooklyn Tech, Truman, and APR, if I'm not mistaken. And the question was, who was going to, with Brooklyn Tech and Fort Hamilton moving up, would APR and Truman slide into that favorites of the 3A, right? And of course, you have teams like Utrecht and Madison and others, McKee, moving down. Of course, that's going to change things tremendously. And this was such a monster matchup early in the 3A. And so shout out to Rel. I said it was 26-0. It was 24-0. Apologies on that. I got the 2 points mixed up. And this just shows so much character. So much character. I mean, Gavin, number 6. I mean, 3 touchdowns. Gavin, you had the game-winning touchdown as well? I know you sent it to me on Instagram. I think it was the game-winning touchdown as well.
Game winner too, yeah.
I mean, this is just a tremendous job. I was at the New York Madison game 2 weeks ago, and I saw a team. I was like, okay, they have flashes. This team, I think they can compete in the 3A. Of course, this is before any 3A play. Of course, you kind of have to play hypothetical football when in the early on when you're trying to judge these games. But I was like, I see things with Madison. I shouted out number 1, Ray, the quarterback. I said, he didn't have a lot of time against against a New York front 7, but I see that he looks like a confident player, and he looked very confident. He got flushed out of the pocket a few times and was able to find Gavin on those touchdowns. And Madison is such a proud program in the PSAL. So I'm happy to see them have success. Obviously, it's very, very early. There's a lot of football to be played. But if this is what the 3A is giving us,
yeah, we got some competition in the 3A. Yep.
Your thoughts, man.
I just want to shout out Coach Salvato. Like Tone mentioned in the comments. I don't know if a lot of the younger guys know who Coach Salvato is. That's a legendary coach. He used to coach at Southshore for many years. So I know he's installing a certain culture at Madison. And I remember last year Madison was in a 4A, low numbers. They didn't really have many guys. So for them just to see the program kind of, like you said, I know it's early, but to see the program kind of headed in the right direction. They have some playmakers, some guys who can make plays. I think that's just a positive sign, and that's just good for NYC football, in general. So, shout out to Madison. I wish I would have looked into this game a little more. I kind of dropped the ball on this game because this was a hell of a game, 40-32 overtime. But yeah, it's just good to see a program like Madison finally get the ball rolling and heading back in the right direction. So I'm definitely going to pay attention to them as the season goes on.
Yeah, and from the Truman perspective, of course, it's a gut-wrenching game for you guys. I don't have any stats for you guys on the PSAL site. Excuse me. Of course, it's a gut-wrenching game for you guys, especially on the road, early test, early test for sure. And, you fell short. Like this should listen, you guys, to me, you guys are the class of the 3A, right? Like, that's what I said, of course you have the hot, let's call them the newcomers, right? The Chiefs Head Bays, the Madisons, the McKees. I mean, they're technically newcomers, right? You guys were the ones in the semifinals. You were in the semifinals for a good reason, pretty confident they beat Lane. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, right? They beat Lane in the first round of the playoffs last season. So it's tough.
Yes, I believe so. Yep.
Pick your head up. I know that was a tough bus ride back up to the Bronx, but you guys have a lot of football ahead of you. And I really think you guys could be one of the top contenders in this league as well. And this league is seriously the gulag. Like, honestly, I mean, it was like this last year too. I mean, I love the 3A division. I love the 3A division. And my guy Jerry,
Yeah,
that's really not a hot take. It's not a hot take at all.
Yeah, it is the most yeah, it is. This year especially.
Like not even close. Like listen, Jared and Coach Mac, shout out to Mac, predicted the 4A playoffs last year. Didn't get one game wrong.
Oh yeah.
Our 3A brackets were all wrong. 3A brackets were completely wrong.
You got APR winning the whole thing.
I don't even remember what I picked, but I was wrong. I was up. I know I didn't pick APR because I know their players were beefing with me because I wouldn't pick them.
Yeah.
And then they lost because of why I wouldn't pick them. So shout out to Perlo though. Shout out to my guy. But they were beefing me, and I was like, "Yo, guys, like, there's certain holes. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, there's certain holes in your offense that I have to be honest about." But then I picked the wrong winner anyway, so it didn't even matter. I think I picked Fort Hamilton. I'm pretty sure I picked.
Yeah, you did.
So,
me too. That's what I thought was gonna take it for him. Yeah.
And real quick, guys, just in case you don't, I think most people know. If you're fans, you guys probably know that we say that we don't do predictions. There are plenty of pages that do predictions. I'm not crazy about predictions. We do one prediction. Like we do one prediction and we do one list. That's all I can handle from you guys. One prediction, one list. You know, right before the playoffs, we'll predict the playoffs. We'll predict the playoffs, and then we'll do our list, our all media list at the end of the year.
And I like it. I think that's fair.
Yeah, you know, less is more. That's what I think. I don't have a graphic for the 3A. Maybe next time I'll just make a graphic that just says like 3A talk. I'll probably just do that. So yeah, we can go anywhere here, guys. You know, the chat, Jared.
Yeah. So one thing, I said it in the beginning of the chat. I don't know if the John Jay guys are still here. I was joking around. I said, you know, I have a bone to pick with John Jay, and the only reason why I say that, I mean, congratulations on the win, beating Bayside. That's a huge victory on 28-22. But you know, I can't watch every single game in 2 days. And John Jay, there's no stats on the website. And I can't really talk about you guys if there's nothing there. So I would love for next time for John Jay to input their stats so I could talk a little bit more about their players. But big win over a good Bayside team, and I'm pretty sure it came down. It came down to the end, is what I saw in the chat. They won by 6, 28-22. Yeah, I'm liking what John Jay's cooking up, man. They're building up.
Salute to Dre in the chat. Yeah,
I got
man.
some stats for John Jay.
Oh, there you go.
Oh!
You're holding out on E. How you have just
you let me
come
go.
on, E.
I was definitely gonna mention it, but I don't want to cut you off, Jared. Sorry, bro. I don't want to cut you off mid-sentence. Nah, because listen, y'all gotta send Jared the stats too, man. Like, come on now. Y'all gotta send one of us the stats or all of us the stats. Is cool, but
E, I can't believe you just had Jared out to dry like that, man.
No, I didn't want to cut him off mid-sentence, bro. My bad. Yeah. I actually forgot that they sent me some of the stats.
Oh my god. That is so funny.
They sent me some of the stats. I sent a few. I sent a few.
I forgive you, John Jay. I forgive you guys.
My bad, Jared. My bad.
It's good.
It just clicked in my head like, yo, they definitely sent me some stats. Like, QB Drashawn Peak, 4 TDs, 2 rushing, 2 passing. Now, you know, this is a kid too. I seen him in 7-on-7. He was a starter last year, number 1. You know, he's back leading his offense. So, you know, a 4 TD day. Shout out to him. Amari Hammonds with a TD catch and a pick. Xavier Brown with a pick. Ephraim Thompson with 100 total yards and 1 touchdown. That's their running back. So, you know, shout out to John Jay for getting that W.
I just want to look. I'm going to see where John Jay finished last season. Oh, I'm in the 4A. Hold on. Because I remember at the end of the year, I think was it Stuyvesant? I know there were 2 teams. There were like 2 or 3 teams competing for like 1 or 2 spots last year.
Yeah,
Let me see where John Jay.
after you're done, I got a good one for. I mean, Stuyvesant had a big win.
Yeah, that was.
So
I
So
didn't
John Jay.
expect that.
Okay.
talk
Now
about
I
that
remember.
after.
So last year there were there were 3 teams who finished 4-4 with the same PowerPoints. So John Jay, Stuyvesant, and William Bryant all finished with the same exact record. And then who made the playoffs? Because it wasn't John Jay.
No, I think John Jay and Bryant made the playoffs.
Yeah, Bryant definitely made the playoffs. I remember that.
Oh,
Yeah.
John Jay did make the playoffs. Okay.
Yeah, I think they were the 8.
Oh, okay. So John Jay making the next step. I'm happy for them. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Someone said they got it on a coin flip. Wow.
Oh, that was in the chat. Sorry, I wasn't looking at it. It
They
was
got it
actually
on
a coin flip.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't remember that. They got it on a coin flip.
Wow, that's crazy. No, so shout out to you guys. I love to see teams like taking the next step. So hopefully you guys continue with your success.
Yeah. Anyways, to keep going real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to Stuyvesant.
Yeah.
Listen, man, they went. I think it was on the road. I'm pretty sure against Midwood, a good Midwood
Wow.
team, and they went in there and they got the W, and they slowed down a Midwood team that I know could pass the ball well. They have William Ford. They got a lot of good weapons, but that Stuyvesant defense came to play, and I'm pretty sure they're actually trailing in this one. But Finn Chadwick, 2 touchdowns, throwing the football for Stuyvesant, and that was big time. That was big time for them. And I talked with the Stuyvesant coach a little bit after the game, finding out what happened, and yeah, he was proud of his guys for sure. And they're coming off. They actually played Brooklyn Tech in a non-league game, and Brooklyn Tech did their thing. And but listen, they tested themselves there, and they come out in the 3A, and they're 1-0. So some credit to Stuyvesant.
Oh, look at this comment from Jerry. Hope them Sharks in the chat too. We
I see.
coming.
Oh boy.
Like that energy. Like that energy, Mac.
Yeah, Mac, wake up, man. What you doing here? Why you snoozing? Why you snoozing, man? No, tremendous win for them. Definitely disappointing for It was at Midwood, correct?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
I think it was. It was at Midwood.
Is that Midwood?
And yeah, definitely a little. I honestly I classify it as an upset. I do.
Me too.
I classify it as an upset, and I think it's a lot of credit, just to Stuyvesant for coming out and playing hard.
Let me look at Midwood's schedule. I would bring it up on the screen. I won't bring it up on the screen. Listen, Midwood got to get it together quickly because they got to go. They got to play Truman next week.
Yeah, I mean, no, their schedule's tough. They have a lot of the former 4As and APR. It's not easy.
And that's on a roll.
NFJM. All right, yeah, this is going to be challenging, but Midwood's well coached, so this is going to be very intriguing.
They got to go to the Bronx. They got to go to the Bronx on Saturday.
No. So Truman doesn't have a field, so it's actually going to be at Midwood.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we were. Remember that from the other week when I was like so confused.
Yeah. Dude, talk about a challenge. You're on the road every week, man.
That sucks. Yeah,
we gotta talk about the Sharks, man. I mean, if you talk about some of the most impressive teams, across all leagues, Sharks got to be up there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a top 10 team in the PSAL right now.
The Sharks are hot.
PSAL, they're hot.
The Sharks are hot.
They're doing their thing. For me, I think they're the favorite in the 3A right now. I know only week 1 is transpired, but after seeing them non-league and seeing them right now, they're looking really good, man. And it's just dominance. They made, a solid Dozo team look not so solid. And that was just because of the play of the Sharks.
Yeah, I mean, the trench play that the Sharks have, it's 4A trench play. Like, Amari Britt was on our second team all-city list. Amari Britt is a college player.
Yeah.
So him alone on that team, and I know they have some more dogs down there.
Yeah, they do, bro. Wait until you see Big O.
Yeah, Big O's a problem.
Yeah.
And then Southshore is a school that They scored 30+ points in every game so far. So the offense is on fire. And in terms of the 3A, I feel like you can say that their group of athletes is probably the top group of athletes in the 3A. In terms of their skills, the running backs they have. We were at the Poly game, Andre, right? And I almost forgot that Jacob Reed didn't even play.
Mm-hmm.
That's how deep the Sharks are. They're putting up numbers, and a kid like Jacob Reed wasn't even on the field. So the Sharks are deep, and like I said, they're one of the hottest teams in the whole city right now. Not even the PSAL, I feel like. So these schools on their schedule, man, and they're coming into to play a Sharks team that's very ready, and I feel like Jared said, they're my favorites for the 3A too.
Shout out to Jaden Brown as well. I know he had to come in. There's an injury at quarterback. I don't know if they've settled it on their quarterback situation or not, but Jaden Brown coming in, having a good game. Jared, you want to jump in?
Yeah, yo, just no, I mean, a lot of credit to the Sharks. Shout out Mac. One team though, I want to say that just keep an eye out for is
APR.
Nah, I'm not even going there yet. We'll get to that. That's too obvious. That's too obvious.
Okay.
Yo, he said, nah.
APR for sure. But listen, the more I think about it with McKee, the more I'm a little bit intrigued because they kind of battled with Port Richmond a little bit until Kasim did his thing. And then they, ran over Grady. That's totally fine. And then against New Utrecht, the team that was in the 4A last year, Cinque Thomas does his thing, 167 yards, 3 touchdowns. David Knight was also very good on the ground, adding 75 yards. And McKee's defense, another stellar performance against New Utrecht, and they held them to 8 points. They held El Sindor in that offense to just 8 points. So
yeah, good win.
Good win for McKee. I think, a lot of people forget about him sometimes, but that's gotta like that victory. But obviously APR, they're right up there at the top, man. And they made a statement this past weekend. Whoever wants to take that one, they put up a lot of points.
No, one thing I want to say about McKee as well, Cinque Thomas, he was one of their top players last year. He's coming back. I know he had a long touchdown. And when I watched that offensive line, it's a gritty Staten Island offensive line.
Yeah, it's classic.
Hold on, Vic. Behave in the chat, all right? Don't come, Vic. You came to the chat late. You're trying to rile it up. Congrats on the touchdown. I'm happy you didn't get hurt when you ran into the fence. All right, but don't come into the chat late, riling it up.
Oh, man. I wasn't looking at the chat when I was rambling. Oh,
shout out to my guy Vic. No, I was watching the whole time. Shout out to my guy Vic. Vic, don't drop the name, please. Mac, now Mac, you should know better. Cut that out, Mac. Vic, I haven't seen you all year, Mac. Definitely make sure you come up and say hi to me. I'm gonna see you. I'm gonna see you week 3. Yeah, so I'm really excited for McKee. I think they have a gritty Staten Island offensive line, tough guys. And to speak about APR, I mean, we just know what APR is coming, how APR is coming. I think you talk about favorites. I mean, their trench work is tremendous. They have one of the best athletes in the entire PSAL, in my opinion. APR is there. They are going to be there at the end, I believe.
Yeah, at this rate.
Yeah, APR is that's another 3A team in my opinion that's very well rounded. Like you said, they got the trenches. They have their DBs is something that stood out to me in their win against Lehman. I think the group accounted for 3 picks.
Wow.
The names, 3 picks. One was from Lord Ray Winston, Yariel De Los Santos, and Zaire Jones. So that's a group that I feel like I mentioned last week. They're going to go as far as their quarterback takes them, as far as Manny takes them. So he had a day too running the ball. That's the thing with Manny. I want to see him. Like I mentioned last week, I'm gonna keep saying it. He's probably gonna tell me this when I see him in person. Like, yo, bro, I can actually throw the ball. Like, I want to see this kid throw the ball and complete some passes where it'll change the way I view him a little bit. But he had 100+ yards rushing with 2 touchdowns. So yeah, dominant performance for APR, and that's I have the Sharks here and APR like right here. Like they're pressing the Sharks. You know, I think APR is that good of a group.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple of games that I have my eyes on. You know, always try to flex a game of the week, 4 to 3A, maybe even 2. One of those I have my eyes on. Oh, and also let me have a shameless plug. Mac, listen. Wrong platform, Mac. We're not turning this chat into that. So please chill out. I'm not gonna time anyone out because no one's saying anything like wild crazy, but different platform. I lost my train of thought. All right, so I will do another shameless plug. You know, another another benefit of being a YouTube member is that you have access to a private community. I actually made 2 community posts today where people are replying. We're talking about, you know, specific things with Sage Media that you guys would like to see, things that we can improve on. And, you know, definitely let me know, like, and this is exclusive to the members. You guys can say it in the chat. I'm going to ignore you. You guys can send me messages on Instagram. I'm going to ignore you. What games you guys would like to see flexed into the game of the week schedule. So definitely one of the benefits of being a member. And I'm actually going to make another community post for that. Maybe I'll make I know I can make polls. So maybe I'll make a poll with some of the games I'm thinking about. But I'm going to make a community post for that for the members, and we can kind of talk about what game of the week to be flexed. Some of the games I'm thinking about, I definitely have James Madison versus Sheepshead Bay circled.
Ooh.
I have it was an APR game. APR Truman, that is a goodie.
Yeah, I mentioned that one
Solid,
too.
actually.
Yeah.
APR Truman is a
Harlem versus
goodie.
Bronx right there.
APR versus Madison. APR versus Madison might be a goodie low key.
When is APR Madison?
That's their last game of the season. I was looking at their schedule earlier.
Madison.
Yeah.
Madison. Did they let me stream? I don't think Madison lets me stream, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never streamed the game at Madison, actually. Just realized that. Yeah, so yeah, APR Truman. Let me see what is my schedule on the 18th. I know I'm kind of going in a
18th is
rabbit
loaded,
hole.
man. 18th is a
The
loaded
18th is
day.
loaded.
Just across all high school football. Like, for instance, a good 2A game on the 18th is Eagle 3 Transit.
Yeah.
Well, that is a good game too.
Transit is hot right now.
Transit they had a very impressive win last week.
Wait, is Sheepshead Madison and APR Truman on the same day?
Yeah, dude. The 18th, like I was trying to make my schedule. It's a ridiculous day of football.
Yeah, that's probably why Andre Madison doesn't have stance. I don't understand what that's about. Yeah.
I think they have they might have a policy similar to Midwood because I can only stream at Midwood during the chip game.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But okay, yeah, we're gonna
ribs and steak. You want to hire me for that game, Dre?
Yo, I swear I was gonna say that
comment. Yo, all our faces were like, oh, wait, hold on.
Nah, that's funny. Yo,
that's
Mac,
fine.
I'm outside, Mac. yo, I'm outside. He said we got ribs and steak. What? All right.
Yeah, that's fire.
Anything else on the 3A, guys?
We missing anything? Let me see if
I
we
mean,
missing
shout out
anything.
John Adams. They got a W. That's about
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me see. Real quick. Let me see the winners in the 3A this week.
I don't know what's up with Lane this year, man, but
Oh, Lane lost. Who let Lane
yeah,
lose
They had
to?
a good senior
Adams.
class last year.
Oh,
Listen,
to
Lane had a lot of
Adams.
seniors.
Yeah, they got to figure it out, man. Then the week before, FDR packed them up. So
Ooh, this was a good game. 18-15.
yeah.
Oh, yo, I was gonna say I mean, if you could talk about FDR, I mean, they just got
Yeah,
another
so
win.
FDR was definitely very impressive. I was at that game against Grand Street. They have a couple of backs who can make plays. Let me find these guys' names really quick. But they have like a duo of three guys who can make plays. Um, yeah, they have a duo of like three guys who can make plays. They have a quarterback who runs a really good a read option. He scored the first play of the game, Benjamin Wolfson Harris. Just the rushing attack was just too much for Grand Street to handle. Um, they have another kid, number 6, Christopher Edwards. He had a tutty. Number 9, Justin Edwards. He also had a tutty. Number 8 also. It's at least 4 or 5 playmakers that I've seen on their offense that
Wow.
is definitely going to give the 2A problems. Number 8, Ian Todman. Hope I pronounced that right. I believe he had a 2-touchdown day. So yeah, FDR, I feel like they, like I mentioned last week, they can definitely make a run in the 2A for sure. They also had their line was very solid to me as well. And they seem to be very well coached. I heard their coach, his post game interview. He's telling his group we're 1-0, but our heads are not going to get too big. We still have a lot of football to play. So I feel like they're a very disciplined group that they're on a mission this year. And I can't wait to see how their season goes in the 2A. And one kid from Grand Street, who I want to shout out, who I think he's a very good playmaker, Chase Washington, number 1. They had him at receiver. He made a few grabs. They let him run the Wildcat. He had a nice touchdown from the Wildcat. So shout out to Chase Washington from Grand Street. That kid can play. Let me look at FDR's schedule actually too really quick. I want to see if they play against Eagle. Let me see. Because that would be a game, in my opinion, to see in the 2A. Let's see. Let me see if they play Eagle. Let's see. No, they
Yes,
do.
they do.
Oh, they do.
Eagles'
November
schedule is pretty
1st.
interesting, actually.
They
Actually kind of
do.
interesting.
They do. I think that might be in terms of a test for Eagle in the 2A. I think FDR would definitely be that school to give them some work. One of the schools who I think can give them some work.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say, because I don't think it's gonna be an Eagle 3 cakewalk. Like, I mean, could it be? Could they actually do it? Like, yeah, they have the ability to run through the 2A. But like some of these schools though that they're playing against, because they got some tough teams on their schedule, it's gonna be interesting, man. I really think so. And yeah, FDR could be one of those teams. And then I also, I like Bryant too, who picked up a big win. So it's
Shout out to boys and girls.
the
yeah,
Kangaroos.
boys and girls, yeah.
The Kangaroos 1-0.
So huge shout out to them for sure. Listen, I'm protesting Eagle 3 a little bit. Can't lie. Shout out to my guy Pierre. I'm just a little frustrated at them, man. Like, just because I feel like the 2A, 2A is a good league, man. I feel like the 2A is a good league for teams to kind of like build their foundation up a bit, and then having a team with not only a foundation but top level athletes down there. I think it's a little tough, but shout out to Coach Pierre for real, man. Um, Honestly, guys, I mean, if we don't have anything else, let me know. I know E always has some shout outs. I think we can wrap. Well, you got any shout outs, E?
Um, nah, I think I did more on my shout outs for the night.
Love that. So listen, man. You know how we always end it off throwing up the game of the week schedule. This week, it's all about Eagle Academy versus Brooklyn Tech, 4 p.m. kickoff. Make sure you guys tune in. I know 4 p.m. kickoff. I know a lot of teams might be playing at this time, but make sure you guys watch this one back. This game is sponsored by Eagle Academy, so it's free to view for everyone. You know, I see Vic in the chat. You know, week 3 and week 6 are some monster matchups between Tottenville, E-Hall, Curtis. Monster matchups we have for the game of the week here. Again, I'm going to send a comment in the community and the members to talk about, a 3A game to flex in, maybe even a 2A game. The 18th, I am at. Okay, I'm at Eagle versus Canarsie. What's the game of the week that week? Game of the week is I think I see what's going on. Yeah. So the game of the week that week is Tottenville Lincoln on the Friday.
Oh,
And then I have Eagle Canarsie. So I might be able to split the crew that day.
Isn't Eagle Canarsie a Friday?
That is a good question. Let me double check that now, because it's usually a Friday night, isn't it?
I mean, I could be wrong.
I think I saw that it was a Saturday. But the schedule's changed too, so.
That's fast.
Eagle versus Canarsie is the 17th. No, it is a Friday night. Okay, that's what it is. So yeah, so I'm free on the 18th actually. Oh, I had that wrong in my schedule actually. Thanks, Jared. I had that wrong in my master schedule. So
Day for the 18th then.
yeah, the 18th I'm free. Yeah. So I need to figure out where I'm going on the 18th.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah, so we're definitely gonna talk about that in the community chat. Of course, remember that we have the Sage Standout Scholarship for the student section. Eagle. Yes, I am. Anyway, I have to. And honestly, listen, for those who were there, I think E was probably there. I know Tone was definitely there. I was there the last time Eagle went to Canarsie, and that score was 55-0.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Oh my!
That's the year Canarsie went to the chip. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, man.
yes, and that was hectic. So Eagle might need to get some get back. People were so mad because that was my first year of Sage, and I was posting scores at the time, and I had to post that score so badly. Oh man! Oh, let me not forget. Of course, Saturday, Port Richmond versus Southshore, the member-only game. Oh, you're at Poly that night, Tone? Yeah, that was a bad night. That was a bad night. I think Eagle was down 21-0.
Yeah, that got
In
bad.
less than 3 minutes. I think it was like less than 3 minutes.
That got bad.
You know what was crazy though? Canarsie had the ball first and they fumbled. So Eagle technically got a stop that night. And then from there it was like Eagle had like a total of like 30 yards that day. Anyway. Yo, E, how many D1 players were on that Canarsie team?
Yeah, they had at least, let me see, at least 4 or 5 guys. Yeah. Tavon Nelson, Jean Pierre, the receiver. Dylan, who's at Maryland. That's 3 guys. I might be missing someone, but they had at least at least 4 guys.
Yeah, that's
At
crazy.
least 4
That was at the
D1
old
guys.
Canarsie Field. It was
Yeah.
dark. You couldn't see nothing.
Yeah, I remember that lighting was terrible that game. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, support Richmond Southshore. Definitely make sure you got tuned into that on Saturday. Become a member. Listen, man, we're still at 50 people at the end of the show, man. This is really, really awesome. I mean, huge shout out to the 3A guys for real, man. Like y'all wilding in the chat today, but like,
5 guys. Yeah,
you guys are, you guys are so passionate. Really appreciate you guys. It's always the 3A guys trying running up on me and telling me I was wrong about something.
Chris Howell. Yep, another D1 guy. Yep, I missed him.
Oh, Chris Howell. Yeah, you're right. Man, that team was so stacked. That E-Hole team was stacked that year too, because they was it 21? It was 21 rip in the chip game, right?
Yeah.
Team's loaded.
Yo, a chip game at Springfield. Like, shout out to Springfield, but that is diabolical. That is really diabolical. Yo, like, listen, I know that sounds mad crazy, so forgive me, but like a chip game at Springfield,
nah, bad venue.
it's kind of crazy. Like, I know Midwood is cool because Midwood's like historic. Like, the game is the chip game is always there, and it's a nice field too. That year at Spring, remember that day? It was rain. It was a nasty.
It was bad. It was cold that day. Yeah, it was cold that day. Silly me thought Canarsie had a shot, but we made it to the chip at least, man.
Who'd you guys play the semis that year? Do you remember?
Curtis, and that game was a dogfight. I think Canarsie won that game at Canarsie like 6-0, something crazy like that. The weather was bad too. I remember that. Yeah. Curtis the week before. Yep.
Yeah. Shout out to, actually, before we get off, my guy Ed just reminded me of the Catholic League. We kind of skipped the Catholic League a bit this week, but there were some good results. I don't know if you off the top of your head. I mean, if you want to go over that, Jared, real quick.
Yeah, I'll give
Iona Prep. I mean, Jesus Christ.
So for the Catholic League, the AAA, they went to Jersey, or they played Jersey teams this past weekend. Some good, some not so good, I guess. You know what? We'll start with the not so good first. I mean, listen, Cardinal Hayes played against an extremely talented St. Joe's regional team. They ended up losing. I'm just gonna say it was a shutout. That's all I'm gonna say. It was a shutout. Lord, oh man, it was a shutout, and St. Joe's Regional got up early, and they're a really, really good team. So that happened, and listen, the same exact thing happened to St. Anthony's. They got shut out by Don Bosco. Bosco's defense was a different animal. They won that game 28-0. And sorry, Ed, I didn't even say the score, Ed. I was actually nice, so I shouldn't be banned. Yeah, so they got shut out. Actually, Stepanak also got shut out by DePaul, another really good team in Jersey. So, and Farrell, they didn't get shut out, but Del Barton beat them up a little bit. But those were all really talented teams. But now let's go to the positives. Let's go to the fun part. Iona Prep, on the other hand, went into Paramus Catholic and put up 58 points and beat Paramus 58-48. Pretty crazy. And they were up 38-14 at halftime. And I understand Paramus isn't at the caliber, I don't think, of a St. Joe's Regional or a Don Bosco from what I've heard, but they are still in the same conference. And for a team to put up 58 on Paramus Catholic, who's a super football conference team, I believe, and a good team, like, that's pretty crazy. CBA is not the top program in the state. They're definitely not.
Didn't they lose to Hayes?
I think that might have been CBA Albany, but no, CBA Iona Prep would beat CBA Syracuse. Yeah. Anyways, Iona put up 58, and then Chaminade, they played Seton Hall Prep, who I think they're also like lower level in that Super Football Conference League. They only had a few wins last season, but Chaminade came away with the victory, which is still good for New York. So they won 25-22 in overtime. And so Chaminade and Iona Prep got big wins. So we'll give them credit there for sure. And what I will say though about Hayes, losing 48-0 this past week, they have so many underclassmen where I hope they schedule a game like this again. And I think next year they have a better shot.
So it's so interesting to kind of understand the Northeast a bit, right? So I don't know anything about Connecticut football, but if we call us downstate New York football, we had a very, very good showing against upstate last week. We go to Jersey and get beat up a bit. So I'm kind of curious. I'm curious. I'm assuming Jersey is the best state in the tri-state. I'm assuming they're better than
in the
Connecticut.
tri-state area, yeah, and that's really, listen, Bergen Catholic's a different animal. They're a top 20 team in the country, and then Don Bosco and SJR are really good. But listen, any given year, it could get a little bit weird. St. Anthony's beat St. Joe's Regional a couple years ago, so and that team of Rich Beelan a couple years ago, that state championship team. You put them up against the top teams in Jersey at the end of that season. I'm debating for Cardinal Hayes, so it gets interesting.
Okay. All right. So a little Catholic League to wrap it up. So yeah, guys, really appreciate all the support. Again, shout out to the members. I'm going to shout the members out every single time. You guys killed it this weekend for sure. Hopefully that continues to grow. Like I said, some of the games of the week will be members only. If we can't find a sponsor, we'll post about that later on the week. Any last words before we close out?
Just a thanks to everyone, for tapping in, for tuning in. I can't wait to see what's in store for week 2. But thanks to everybody for tuning in. The comment section was active today. A lot going on. So thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Shout out to Vic. Vic is hilarious, but Vic came into chat.
Yeah, he came in on time.
Like, where did he even come from?
He got straight to it. He got straight to it.
Newsday, Uzzi Sports. Any last words?
Yeah, no, thanks again for tuning in. Honestly, it's always so much fun. The chat was on fire. We had a good time, and I felt like we talked about a lot of different teams today. So it was a blast, man. It was great. And good luck everyone this week. Can't wait for next Monday.
Can't wait for next Monday. Got a lot of games ahead of us, guys. Every Monday, 7:15, you know where to be.
Appreciate
you guys. Good night.